At 27,000 feet above Western Germany, Captain Daniel Reeves is staring at something no fighter pilot is supposed to fly into. It stretches from horizon to horizon. A wall of black cloud rising like a mountain range in the sky. Behind him, two Focke-Wulf Fw-190s are closing the distance. His coolant temperature is climbing, his airspeed is falling, and his P-51 Mustang is no longer the fastest aircraft in the sky. The manual is very clear about thunderstorms. Avoid cumulonimbus formations. Do not enter. Structural failure likely. Instrument unreliability probable. Severe turbulence guaranteed. Reeves knows all of this. He also knows something else. In level flight at this altitude, a healthy Fw-190 can extend away from a Mustang. And his Mustang is not healthy. A coolant line took flak over Münster 10 minutes ago. The temperature gauge has been creeping upward ever since. He cannot run the engine at full power much longer without risking seizure. The Germans know it too. They aren't diving. They aren't breaking off. They are holding position just outside firing range, waiting for him to slow. Reeves checks his mirrors again. The first Fw-190 flashes in the sun. The second slides slightly higher, trying to bracket him. They are patient. They know he has nowhere to go. Below him, scattered cloud, flak batteries, and more enemy territory. Ahead of him, a storm cell that reaches 35,000 feet. The kind of storm that rips apart bombers. The kind that throws aircraft upward thousands of feet in seconds. The kind instructors describe in quiet voices during weather briefings. Reeves looks at his coolant gauge, then at the storm, then back at the Germans. He makes a decision that will not appear in any manual. He pushes the throttle forward just enough to hold speed, and turns directly toward the black wall. The first drops of rain strike the canopy like thrown gravel. The sky disappears. Behind him, the Fw-190s hesitate for half a second. Then they follow him in. In the next 3 minutes, one of three things will happen. His wings will shear off under vertical stress. His engine will seize in zero visibility. Or he will come out the top of that storm at an altitude neither German expects. Reeves tightens his harness. The cloud swallows him whole. Thunderstorms were not weather. They were terrain. Invisible mountains rising at thousands of feet per minute. In 1944, no Allied fighter carried weather radar. No cockpit display warned of wind shear. No instrument could tell a pilot where the updraft ended and the downdraft began. You entered blind. Inside a cumulonimbus cloud, vertical air currents could exceed 5,000 feet per minute. That is faster than most fighters could climb under engine power. If you hit an updraft, the aircraft could be thrown upwards so violently the wings flexed beyond their limits. If you hit a downdraft, you could lose 1,000 feet before you understood what was happening. Ice formed in seconds at high altitude. Carburetors choked, control surfaces stiffened, visibility vanished. Pilots described it as flying inside a waterfall made of air. Reeves knows all of this. He learned it in Florida. He watched a training film where a P-40 disappeared into cloud and came out missing half a wing. The instructors had been clear. Enemy fighters can be outrun. Weather cannot. Behind him, the first Fw-190 edges closer. German pilots were cautious about storms, but not afraid of them. They had learned the same rules. Stay near the edge. Let the other man make the mistake. The German leader expects Reeves to turn away at the last second. Every pilot does. The Mustang hits the outer wall of cloud at over 300 miles per hour. Instant turbulence. The aircraft shudders like it has struck debris. Rain turns to ice against the canopy. Reeves loses visual reference in less than 2 seconds. The horizon disappears. There is no up, no down, only vibration. He checks his artificial horizon. It flickers. Static crackles through his headset. The first updraft hits like an explosion beneath the wings. The Mustang lurches upward violently. Reeves does not pull back. He does not fight it. He does something instructors never teach. He lets the storm fly the airplane. Behind him, the Fw-190s enter the cloud bank one by one. Now none of them can see each other. Now the fight is no longer pilot versus pilot. It is pilot versus atmosphere. And the atmosphere does not care who wins. Another surge of vertical air throws the Mustang upward. The altimeter needle spins past 28,000, 29, 30. Reeves tightens his grip on the stick and aims for the darkest column ahead, the vertical shaft of cloud rising like smoke from a chimney. If he has read the storm correctly, that column is rising air. If he is wrong, it is descending air. If it is descending air at this speed and this angle, he will not have time to correct. Lightning flashes somewhere off his left wing. For an instant, the entire cockpit glows white. Then darkness again. The altimeter keeps climbing. Behind him, one of the German pilots realizes too late that this is no longer pursuit. It is survival. And not all aircraft are equally suited for it. The updraft becomes violent. The Mustang climbs without effort. 31,000 feet. 32. The engine coughs once as ice forms along the intake lip. Reeves nudges the mixture, careful, deliberate. Too much throttle and the engine overheats. Too little, and he stalls inside the cloud. He is no longer flying straight. He is riding a column of rising air like an elevator with no walls. The turbulence changes. Less chaotic, more vertical. That's when he knows. He found the core. In the center of a thunderstorm, rising air feeds the cloud from below. Warm air surges upward, thousands of feet per minute. It builds the storm higher and higher into the stratosphere. Most pilots avoid it. Reeves aims for it. The altimeter needle sweeps past 33,000 feet. The temperature drops sharply. The Mustang shudders once more and breaks through. Suddenly, there is light. Blinding sunlight reflecting off a white ocean of clouds stretching in every direction. The sky above is calm, blue, silent. Reeves levels off, breathing hard, scanning. No German fighters. Below him, the storm top roils like boiling water. Somewhere beneath that surface, two Fw-190s are still climbing blind through turbulence, or descending, or breaking apart. He banks left, waits. Then a dark speck bursts through the cloud edge several thousand feet below him. One of the Fw-190s. The German pilot levels out hard, scanning frantically, assuming the Mustang is still beneath him. He does not look up. Reeves rolls inverted, pushes the nose down. Gravity does the rest. The Mustang dives clean and smooth through thin, cold air. No turbulence here, no ice, just altitude and speed. He lines up the shot. At 600 yards, he fires. The .50 caliber rounds arc downward into the German's wing root. Smoke trails instantly from the engine cowling. The Fw-190 rolls away, breaking right, losing altitude. Reeves does not follow. He pulls out of the dive and turns west. Behind him, the storm continues to climb into the sky as if nothing happened. The second German never reappears. Reeves checks his coolant temperature. Colder air at altitude has stabilized it. His gamble bought him time. Not because he was faster, not because he was stronger, but because he understood something the other pilot did not. Thunderstorms are not walls. They are machines, and machines can be used. Reeves banks toward Allied territory. Below him, the cloud closes again, swallowing the sky where the fight had been. For a few minutes, he had not escaped the enemy. He had escaped the rules. Reeves crosses the channel alone. The sky is clear again, calm, as if the storm over Germany had been someone else's weather. His coolant gauge sits just below the red line. The engine sounds different now. Strained, hot, tired. He lowers altitude gradually. No sudden movements. No aggressive throttle changes. The Mustang touches down at RAF Leiston just after 1600 hours. The landing is smooth. The ground crew notices the ice first. There is still frost along the wing roots. The crew chief walks around the aircraft slowly. He stops at the rivet lines near the wing joint. Tiny stress cracks in the paint. Nothing catastrophic. but enough to show what the airframe endured. "Where the hell were you?" the crew chief asks. Reeves climbs out of the cockpit stiffly. "Inside it," he says. The debriefing is short at first. Enemy contact. 2 FW-190s. Entered storm. Regained altitude. 1 probable damaged. The intelligence officer pauses. "You did what?" Reeves explains the updraft, the climb rate, the temperature drop, the altitude gain. There's silence in the room. Not disbelief, calculation. Weather officers are called in. They review the mission maps. The storm cell had been tracked at 34,000 feet. Vertical build rate. Severe. One officer says what everyone is thinking. "You climbed through the core?" Reeves nods. Another officer flips through the P-51 structural tolerance charts. The Mustang's laminar flow wing was designed for high-speed efficiency. It wasn't built for comfort inside a vertical air column. On paper, the maneuver should have exceeded recommended stress limits. But paper does not account for cold air density, or for the fact that the Mustang's supercharged Merlin engine actually performed better at extreme altitude than the radial-powered FW-190. The storm had not just hidden him. It had lifted him into an altitude bracket where his aircraft held the advantage. 3 days later, a brief addendum appears in the squadron's tactical notes. Severe weather formations may provide temporary vertical energy opportunities. Exercise extreme caution. It is not doctrine. It is not encouragement. It is acknowledgement. Pilots begin talking quietly about riding the weather. Most never try it. A few do. And German after-action reports from early 1944 contain a strange pattern. Allied fighter appeared from cloud top unexpectedly. Reeves never claims a victory for that day. He writes in his logbook, "Weather-assisted disengagement." That is all. But the next time a Mustang pilot sees a storm wall rising ahead of him, he does not see only danger. He sees possibility. Reeves flew 23 more missions after the storm. He never officially recommended the maneuver. He never wrote a paper about vertical air columns. He never claimed he had discovered anything. In squadron photos, he looks like every other pilot. Same jacket, same tired eyes, same aircraft behind him. The war moved on. New aircraft arrived. New tactics replaced old ones. Weather remained what it had always been. Unpredictable, dangerous, indifferent. After 1945, Reeves left the Army Air Forces and returned to Oklahoma. He bought a small crop dusting plane. Low altitude, clear skies, predictable winds. A different kind of flying. Once, years later, a local reporter asked him about his most dangerous mission. Reeves thought about dogfights, flak bursts, long escort runs over Berlin. Then he said, "The most dangerous thing I ever did was trust the air." The reporter laughed, assuming it was a joke. Reeves did not. Storms do not care about flags. They do not care about who is chasing whom. They are engines of rising and falling air, building and collapsing without preference. On that afternoon in 1944, 2 German pilots saw a storm as a barrier. Reeves saw it as terrain. Not safe, not friendly, but usable. There is a difference between breaking the rules and understanding why the rules exist. Reeves did not ignore the manual. He understood it. He knew storms were dangerous. He also knew what made them dangerous. And sometimes, understanding a danger gives you leverage over it. The sky is not empty. It is structured, layered, alive. And on that day, one pilot survived not because he was faster, but because he realized the air itself could be flown like a weapon. He did not defeat the Luftwaffe with horsepower. He defeated them with altitude that no one else expected him to reach. Sometimes survival comes from pushing the throttle forward, and sometimes it comes from flying straight into the storm,